Hello Booktube, it's Leah Cooper here, and today I'm bringing you a book chat happy hour number 3. Theoretically, these book chats are supposed to be kind of where I talk about maybe like a hot button topic that's come up in the past week in the book world, or maybe if I have something I've seen recently that I feel really passionate or ranty about, it's where I talk about it. To be honest, this week I wasn't really sure what to talk about. I was kind of hoping I would just, drink my second glass of wine and a topic would come to me. So far, it's not really. Because while the rest of the world is a little crazy and tumultuous, I feel like the book world's actually been pretty quiet this week. We haven't had anybody, as far as I know, trying to buy their way onto the New York Times list, for instance. We haven't had any articles condemning reviewers for having the audacity to read books and review them coming out on, Bustle. Was it on Bustle? I think so. But hey, if something like that's happened and I've just missed it, feel free to let me know down in the comments, because I always love to read about people being shitty on the internet. So a couple of days ago, Derby was kind enough to give me a shout out in her Small Booktubers Spotlight video, and I picked up a fair few new subscribers, so I want to say hello to all of you. This week I have been thinking about what kind of reader am I? In more of a specific sense, like as a booktuber, what's my brand? I know that seems that's such a canned thought for someone to have if YouTube's their job, and YouTube's not my job. YouTube, the reason I'm on Booktube is accountability in some respects, because if I don't have structure around what I'm supposed to be doing, a lot of times it won't get done. And so I'm a very flaky reader left to my own devices, and for the past 10 years I've been a flaky reader, and I really wanted to change that because I write a lot, and up until 2017 it was a travesty that I wasn't reading that much. I use this platform kind of to keep myself accountable, to make a TBR that for the most part I try to stick to. And since I've made it public, I've released it to the world and set a goal that other people can see, I tend to hold myself accountable to that goal more so. I will read the things that I put on my TBR, and I will try to engage with them critically. It's also been very interesting this year to read things that are popular on Booktube and to see where my opinion of them falls with kind of the general public. I've always felt like I have kind of strange taste in books. A lot of books that I love don't necessarily resonate with other people, and a lot of books that are very popular I don't see the appeal of. And so it's been interesting to kind of be up to date on what people are reading, how to see people respond, to gush, to love, to hate books, and then to read them myself and see where I fall. And that's going to come back around to this topic of what is my Booktube brand. So I think it's safe to say that the most popular genre on Booktube is YA. There's no arguments, right? When I was a new booktuber, I've been doing this for almost a year. I've been doing this for about 10 months. I've made about 90 videos, and so I'm not a total newbie at this point. And when my channel was very new, I definitely felt the compulsion and the interest to read the YA books that were super popular with people. And it's been a mixed bag. Some of them have been great. Some of them have been not so great, have been very puzzling. Like I do not see the appeal. And as my channel has aged, I think for the most part I've started to read less YA, because it's easier now that I've read some of it to anticipate what YA I might like, what YA I'm probably not gonna like, and what authors I just need to steer clear of because I don't like them, even though they are crazy popular. I can't do them. And so the books that I am reading and I'm talking about has evolved over the past 6 months. I think especially in the last couple of months, has shifted, I think, a lot from where it was at the beginning of the year. For instance, I've shifted back to reading a lot more queer books, which I would say in the first half of this year I wasn't really doing. because there's still a dearth of books with queer characters in them being talked about being talked anywhere, unless you're in like a very niche community. And I've gotten a little bit more into reading romance novels just because I like romance novels. I don't like them universally, but there's definitely some like specific writers who write romance who I just love unapologetically. So in my wrap-ups, I've been talking a lot more about romance books. But that's not what my whole brand is, because I still really love reading non-romance books. And so I've been trying to kind of figure out what exactly my niche is here on Booktube. I would say the second most popular booktuber is like the adult literary fiction booktuber. There's a pretty significantly large community with enough people in it who have like a good chunk of subscribers that I feel like that's probably the next biggest one. And then probably after that, SFF falls in somewhere as kind of like the third place. And if you disagree with me on this, feel free to let me know. But that's the impression I get. Because I watch a ton of different YouTubers who read lots of different books, and everyone's got varying numbers of subscribers. But that's just kind of the impression I've gotten. And while I do love the occasional adult literary fiction novel, quite a lot actually, and I do read, probably one or two a month. That might be one a month. I think one a month. That's definitely not the focus in my reading. I'm never going to be one of those people who, while I may follow like the Booker or the Bailey's Prize just because I'm interested in them, I would never read the long lists or even the short lists for either of those prizes, because I know for my taste there's probably only going to be one or two books off the long list for any literary fiction prize that I'm actually going to be genuinely interested in. So then we come to the adult SFF community, and I feel a little bit more comfortable possibly planting my brand there, but there's so much of the adult SFF community that I'm just not interested in. I don't like epic fantasy. I'm very picky about my kind of like genre fiction that I read. I do read it, but I don't just read it in general. There's usually like an author or a couple of authors that I specifically like to read. So I don't think adult SFF is really my brand, because then I come back around to, man, I really love to read romance novels, but it's not the only thing I read. And I don't really read women's fiction. And I don't read contemporary at all. What brand does that leave me with? This is the danger of starting a conversation topic where you don't really know what your point is, or you don't have an answer for yourself, where you're just kind of musing aloud. But to backtrack way back to the beginning of this little ramble, welcoming my new subscribers who hopefully are still here after this little ramble. What can you expect from me? Well, I think you can expect a lot of little bits of everything, because I read a lot of little bits of everything. I read romance. I read a lot of stuff with queer characters, both romance, literary fiction, genre fiction. I'm always on the hunt for more queer characters. I read stuff published by Big Five publishers. I read stuff published by indie presses. I read stuff self-published by indie authors. Adult SFF. I will read YA SFF. I read classics. I think the only thing you'll never hear me talking about is contemporary YA. I read a lot of speculative fiction. That's how I've always liked to kind of put myself in the box, the speculative box. And I think that's a very wide-ranging box. It's a box with a lot of sides. I'm always looking for books with really strong writing, exceptional plotting, and a good story. And if it happens to have queer people in it, well, there you go. Is that a brand?